Hi everybody, it's Lonnie. Today we're going to dive a little bit into using the Rotary on your We Create Vision machine. And we're going to keep it very basic, just for people that are starting out, and how to experiment around with it without burning up a bunch of tumblers and stuff. So let me get some things set up and we're going to start right into that. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our mug and we're going to cover it in aluminum foil. And if you can do it, 2 wraps around is perfect. Now you can have crinkles and stuff in it, that's okay, it doesn't matter. Get stuck around. Alright, the bottom portion here, that might interfere with the cup holder, so get the extra off of there. Okay, and once you got that done, get you some painter's tape and run around the mug with the painter's tape. Now, it does not have to be pretty. Just cover the whole outside of the cup with the tape. And when you're just starting out, it helps to get comfortable with it. And then if you're going to do some fancy graphics on a high-dollar mug, this is the best way to do it. So you're not costing yourself an arm and a leg messing up high-dollar mugs, and they can be pricey. Okay. Alright. Here's our mug, covered with 2 wraps of aluminum foil, and then some painter's tape. Okay, these are the 2 attachments that we're working with here. This is the actual drive with the grip on it. Your mug is going to be attached onto here. And I'm going to show you this out here because it's a lot easier to see than when it's in the machine. This has got a chuck on it, just like a drill does. Okay, you spin this, it opens. Spin it the other way, it closes. So you're going to open the jaw up till it's big enough to hold down on your mug, and you spin it down to where it's tight fitting on the mug. And again, this is all done while it's in the machine. Now once you get it tight like that, the next thing you do is in your bag of goodies, you're going to have a chuck key. This is a chuck key. And you'll, as you spin the mug, you'll see a big hole. You stick the bottom of this in the big hole. The teeth line up here, and then you turn it. And what it's going to do is that is actually going to spin those down tight onto that mug. Now if you get a mug where you keep putting it in the machine and it keeps coming off, you can take this out, put it on here to where it's really snug, and then put it back in the machine. Okay, so that's in there tight. Okay, the other tool in here is an idler, and this sits in the bottom of the tray, and this screw raises up and down. And what that's designed to do is all this extra weight that's hanging out on this end, you raise and lower that until that front end is laying on this, and when it spins, it'll spin freely on those 2 wheels on that idler. But what it does is it keeps that weight from pushing down on the mug and making it come loose down here. So you want it just to the point where it touches it and supports the weight. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to install it inside the machine. Stuff out the way. Okay, very first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure the machine is off. Then you're going to go in here, you're going to pull out your grates. And excuse the mess, I've been cutting all day. I need to clean that out, but I haven't yet. And then there's 2 screws in here. I don't know if I could do it without. There's one here. There's one there. There's one there. Let me see that second ruler. Okay, there's the 2 screws. And in the middle here, there's a pilot hole. In that pilot hole on the bottom of your rotary, there's a spike. This spike goes into that pilot hole, and that helps line up the screws so that you can get it on there. Alright, so take the screws that are in there out. Align your pilot hole with the hole in the rail. And once it's in there, then you put your 2 screws back in. Okay, for sake of time, I'm going to stop and do it. Okay, I've got the screws in there. It's all tight. Now we need to hook up our wire. Again, make sure your machine is off. Make sure your machine is off. Can't stress that enough. Alright, if you look on the top of your plug here, there's an indentation right here between pin number 5 and pin number 1. There's an indentation. And where it plugs in back here in the back of the machine, if you get down here at an angle and look, you'll be able to see where that indentation is. You line the 2 of them up, and then push it in. And she's connected. Okay? If it bothers you that this is touching the bottom of your mug, you can lay something on it just to keep it out of the way. It really won't hurt. And then you bring that other piece in, your idler piece, and you set it down in front of the piece, and then you turn the wheel till it goes up and it touches your piece. Okay? Then go ahead and rotate your cup, and you gotta look and make sure that it doesn't wobble. If you've got it at an angle, you know, like this, and you spin it, it's gonna wobble up and down, and you'll be able to see it when you spin it. Okay, so that one's in there, that one's set. Let me go to the computer, I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are at the Recreate Make It screen. If you haven't turned your machine back on, you should probably turn it back on now. And here we are looking at it. This is the flat view. We're going to go up here to the upper right hand corner to where it says laser cylindrical and click on that. And what it does is it flips the screen for you and shows it to you that way. Now, one of the things you got to remember when you're looking at the image here, I attached the bottom to the chuck. The chuck is up here. Okay. You can attach the top to the chuck. It's your preference, but that's the way I do it, and I'll show you why I did it that way here in just a second. Okay. And here's the image that I'm going to put on it. Now, since I put it in there backwards, I got to rotate the image. I can come up here to the top, hit it twice and rotate it, or I can just drag the little triangle on top, either way. But now I've rotated it around to where I want it. I'm going to put it on the cup, and then I'm going to go ahead and print it. Now, as for settings, run the settings light, like the way I've got them here, 55 and 250. All you want to do is put a mark on that tape. You don't want to cut through the tape into the foil. You basically want to see where it is and what it's going to look like. That's why this is a practice thing. So you go ahead, you line it up, you put it where you want it. And the reason why I put it up here, well, before we go any further, for material, it wants to know the perimeter and the diameter. That's so that it can focus on the piece. What I typically do, instead of getting a tape measure out, is the maximum diameter that it can take is 100. So I'll put 100 in there, and before I even do anything else over here, I'll hit start. And what it's going to do is it gets ready to start. You'll see where this non-working area pops up. I'll explain that in a minute. But if you hit start again, right here in the middle it says measuring the diameter of the cylinder. Now, why would I need to measure it if it'll measure it? So the head comes over, it measures the diameter, It comes back and it throws up a screen here. It says I inputted the diameter of 100 millimeters, which differs significantly from the measured diameter of 87.66. So it measured it. It says it's 87.66. Okay, so hit cancel. 87.66. Over here where I put in 100, put 87.66. Now I've dialed in the right parameters without even having to break out a tape measure, lean over the machine, and do all the hard work. So that's just a cheap way to do it. Okay, this non-working area that just popped up down here, what that is those jaws that hold that cup into place are in your working area. And the last thing you want is for that laser to come over and to run into those and mess everything up. So what they've done is they made it so that you can't do anything over there. So and the reason why I put it in this way is now this gives me more room up here at the top. If I want to make this huge, I can make it huge. And you won't have a big gap at the top. It'll be at the bottom versus the top, which looks better. So I line this up where I want it to be. And then I go ahead and I hit print. And then I'll be back in just a second. I'll show what that looks like. Okay, so I'm back over here at the machine. I'll pull my cup out. And you'll see here on the tape what it looks like. So I've done it. I know what it looks like on the cup, and I haven't messed up a mug. If I got it twisted on there wrong or whatever, I'm good. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I can reuse this like this as many times as I need to, but I'm going to tape over this, and then I'm going to show you another thing that comes in handy when you're trying to figure stuff out. Okay, I'm going to load this back up in the machine, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are back over at the computer, and a lot of times when you put an object on a mug, you want something to be on the opposite side of the mug to kind of balance it out, make it look a little bit better. And the question becomes, how do I know where to put that so that they're opposite of each other? I've got two images here, and if I just drop one there and one here, how do I know that they're going to be opposite each other? Okay, I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. Hit text, come over here, find out where the text went, and then you're just going to type in 1 space 2 space 3 space 4 5 6 space 7 8 space whatever. So you can take it up to about 9, depending on the size of the mug, how big around it is. Okay, so we've got all those numbers. And we're going to take these numbers, make them so that they're fill engraved. And in my case, I'm going to flip it around. And I'm just going to drag it over here and stick it to where it's centered on the mug. Okay, so about right there's centered. Okay, now I'm going to take and I'm going to send that to the printer, and I'll print those numbers, make them a little smaller here. I'm going to print those numbers on that mug, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so here I am back at the machine. I'll pull the mug out. And I think you can see them. Can you see those numbers? All the way around the mug. Okay, so I know that whatever image I have to put on here to start, here's number 1. It won't go any further than past number 1 or past number 9. If I'm designing an image that wraps around and touches itself, now I know where that image is going to be, right there. If you need to fine-tune that even better, make your numbers smaller and don't leave a space, and then you'll find out exactly where the two pieces come together. But so I'm going to put my image. Let's say my image is this wide. If I drop the image here on number 2, okay, and I want something on the opposite side of it, all I do is I set the mug down, I put my pen centered on the glass, I look on the other side, and we're looking at number 6, just a little bit past number 6, right there. So now I can pick my other image, and I can stick it on there, and now I know when I print it, they're on opposite sides of the mugs from each other. So that takes all the guesswork out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the machine, and I'm going to show you how to do that on the machine. Okay, so here I am back at the machine. I haven't moved anything yet. But here are my two images I want. I want teddy bear on one side, puppy dog on the other. If I'm looking at my mug, I know the image is going to start at number 1 and end at number 9. It just so happens that it did it in these guidelines give you a rough estimate on it. But so here's my teddy bear. It's about 1 number wide, so I'm going to stick it here. If I put it right on number 1, it's going to be off. It's going to be off. So I'm going to stick it on number 2. And from doing the pencil trick, we found out that number 6 is where the other one is. So I'll take this one here, and I bring him over to number 6, and center him on number 6. And you can use the top of the numbers for a guideline or whatever you want to do. But so now those are going to be opposite each other when I print it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to click on the numbers, delete the numbers. I'm going to throw some fresh tape on the mug, and then I'm going to print the mug, and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, she just finished printing, so let's open her up, take it out, take a look at it. Alright, so here's the mug, there's a dog, and there's the bear. Take the pen, stick it in the middle of that image, look down the top, and they're centered. And that's how you figure out how to make them opposite each other on the computer. Alright, let me go back to the computer, show you one more thing real quick. Okay, so we got them on the opposite sides of the mug from each other. But something arises occasionally where this image, say the dog, is that size, and the bear, instead of being that size, is smaller. Okay, we know where the bear is supposed to go based on the 1 through 9, but up and down you need to know where it needs to go. So if you drag that bear and watch the lines, there's a line now that showed up on the bottom of the bear in the center of the dog. Keep going. Now there's a line that shows up the center of the dog and the center of the bear. Okay, that means that the center of those images are right across from each other. Okay, so now you can print it. Not only will they be on opposite sides of each other, but the centers of those images from top to bottom will be lined up as well, if that makes sense. So those are just the basic tricks. There's a lot more to do when it comes to the Rotary. Like I said, mugs get to be expensive, so foil them up, put tape on it, do a practice mug, and do whatever. So based on what we've done here, we've done everything except for the file print. We had the dogs, we had the images where we wanted them. Everything's ready to go. So now you take this mug, your test mug out, put a good mug in, or untape this one if it's the only mug you got, stick it in there. The only other variable that you've got is your settings. So if you click over here on your where it says basswood, we want this, instead of saying basswood, we want it to stay stainless steel. Okay, so we're going to click anywhere but the images, and over here it says material, we're going to click, go down to stainless, and I have found, just in my way of doing things, black seems to work on everything. If you want to fine tune the colors, then you can do some of the others, but do that. Once you do it, hit confirm. Now over here on the image, I can click on the board here, and I say, okay, I want it to be stay this shiny silver here, 100 power, 250 speed. Click on that, and now that image is set for that. And I'll set this image here for what you want. We want them both to be the same, so we do that. And as you see, when we click it, it changes it over here to the whatever I clicked on. If I click it to there, it says over here 10 and 250. If I click over here, it's 100 and 250. So it automatically plugs them in for you. What I would suggest is if you're going to do a bunch of them, get whatever you order your mugs. I usually order 2 or 3 extras. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, so you need to have extras. And then I have one that I designate as a test mug. So I'll do a test array on it to get the fine tuning of the colors. On some stainless steel, you could the more power you do, the hue changes from like a light blue to a blue to a black. So you can play around with that stuff too. But if you only got 10 cups and the guy wants 10 cups, your margin of error has gone out the window, and you testing anything has gone out the window. So that's when doing it in foil helps for positioning, but for power settings, you really do need to have one to test on that. Okay, I threw a lot at you. It's just the basics. Like I say, wrap a mug, play around with the thing. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the Rotary. It just takes a little practice to get used to it. And once you've figured out a way to do it without it costing you money, sky's the limit. So knock yourselves out. Have a good time. This, along with all the other videos, I hope they help. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. Hope that helps.